Okay, guys, welcome back to another video. I'm gonna be talking about the Snow White movie. Not a review because because I haven't went to see the movie. I actually don't even plan on going to see it. In fact, I'm gonna talk about this movie's, performance and how it's not doing very good in the theaters. And, and I'm going to talk about that. I'm also going to be talking about the whole future of the Walt Disney Company and possibly where they're going to be headed in the future. Whether if it's going to be good or bad. Because honestly, they're not looking very good right now, but that said, though, let's go ahead and actually talk about it. Well, I guess before I do that, you guys can also go on Instagram and Twitter. I'm over there. And I'm also trying to get to 1K subs, so thank you for the support. And this is not the only news-related video I have. I actually have a couple others I want to talk about, too, that actually aren't Disney-related, but we'll get to those in a little while. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and talk about this. Let's talk about the Snow White movie here. So for shocking reasons, no shock I should say, because I don't think anybody was surprised by this, honestly. I wasn't really either. This movie, has not been doing very well. Like, it is not making a whole lot of money. And actually, it didn't have a very big expectation, for box office performance going, into the theaters. Which makes me want to know why the hell they even put the damn thing in the theaters then in the first place. They know it's not going to do very good. Why not just throw it on freaking Disney Plus? That's what they did, I believe, with their other live action movies, like the Pinocchio movie and all that. But actually, that one would have been under different leadership. Because I think Bob Chapek, unlike Bob Iger, was more like focusing on Disney Plus putting the stuff on there. While like he put some movies in the theaters, but even Pixar, like he did not put some of those movies in the theaters and all that, which I felt like was kind of stupid. But he was kind of focusing more on the Disney Plus part. I mean, Iger's doing that too. Iger is freaking, doing that too. Like, he's actually banking perhaps a little too much on Disney Plus. But I'm like, if they knew this movie was not going to perform well, why the hell did they even freaking put it in the theaters? I'm like, they could have went the Pinocchio route and just, put it on streaming. I don't get it. But yeah, the reviews aren't even that good. Now, I haven't watched a lot of reviews. I have seen some people review it, and what people are saying is kind of what people are kind of expecting. It's not very good and all that. I'm trying not to watch too many reviewers, though, because honestly, I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be going through Disney movies and reviewing them after I'm done with DreamWorks, and I kind of wanted to watch this one kind of blind. I've seen the original movie, but not for many years, and I don't remember if I ever finished watching it. All I know is it's basically Disney's first, actual, film, their actual full-fledged film. They made cartoons and all, but this is their full-fledged film. And to see it, get its live-action remake and all that, you would think that would be, a big throwback, but, which I'm actually surprised it took them this long to actually make this, but it did. It took them very long to make this movie, in live-action, but because they're going through their entire catalog and making live-action remakes to this and that, and I'm like, okay, I mean, if you want to make live-action remakes, that's fine. But I'm like, you need to make a focus on freaking animation, too. And that's the problem. They're not doing that. They're actually kind of walking animation back. I mean, they went out and freaking canceled the Princess and the Frog, show that was supposed to come out. They are canceling this and that. Like, I mean, they're still focusing on. There are some animated movies coming out, but not a lot. It feels like they're focusing more on live action stuff and all that, which is supposed to cut costs and be cheaper, which is what people are saying. But I'm like, it seems to be costing Disney way more money, and all that. So I'm like, I don't know, the whole thing is just stupid. I mean, they can make live action remakes, but they need to take a break, because I feel like people are burnt out on these fucking things. Like, just take a damn break and do it. Maybe take a couple years of a break and then go back to it down the road. Because we also have a live action Bambi movie in the works, a live action Hercules movie in the works. Yeah, I heard about that, which I don't know how well that's gonna go, because especially the whole, part where in the parks they kind of, like, they won't allow, like, voodoo shit and all that in their parks. So I'm like, or are they gonna, like, screw it up too? I don't know. It's just, it's just stupid. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like, okay, like, here's the thing. Like, I feel like, again, with the live action remakes, they could, I don't care about them, but I do know they have their audience. But like I said, people are getting burnt out on them. People want animation, and you've got people like this that are making all this stuff, which is ridiculous. But that said, like, with this movie particularly, this one has gotten a lot of backlash to not only the reviews are not great, but the fact that there's been a lot of backlash with the whole dwarf, stuff, they couldn't get dwarf actors to get these dwarf characters here, which, by the way, if you look right here, now this is an early screenshot of it, but I think I've seen some other ones from the movie and all that, and they don't even look like fucking dwarves. Like, look how tall they look. Like, they don't even look like dwarves. Like, look at Dope. I think this is Dopey. Is this Dopey? I don't know if this is Dopey or not. I don't know who's Dopey. Somebody said that one of the dwarfs is Dopey. The one that doesn't talk, apparently. I guess he does speak some word, like a word or two in this movie. It comes out of nowhere, but I don't know. But look at Dopey though. This character right here, I'm pretty sure this is Dopey. Like I said, it's been years since I've watched it, but I've seen we had DVD advertisements of it and all that on our DVDs. I've seen that. But look how tall he is. Like, he looks freaking tall. Like, he does not look, short. Like, all of them look very tall. Well, I mean, these two at least look kind of short, but most of them look freaking tall. Like, they're like her height. And again, they're supposed to be fucking they're supposed to be dwarfs, because there was a whole bunch of backlash about the whole, the thing online. I've seen some people, on YouTube kind of, some people, shit talk people and be like, that was not the original plan and all, and all that. I'm not going to go into too many details that there were people like that, and I'm sure there were people online that were like that, but no, apparently people are saying, they actually can tell that they're the actual actors, from the movie when they're, so I'm like, so again, you couldn't, give dwarf actors, these dwarves here, actual, people to play. Instead you give, people this. That's just ridiculous. I'm sorry. It is just ridiculous. Again, they look pretty bad, too. And apparently in the movie, they don't look great either. They look pretty bad, so. But they look pretty bad, too. But I'm just But again, they basically, this movie's not only got problems with that, but also, them race swapping, Snow White. Now, apparently, I think they actually edited her skin to make it look lighter, which, at least they listened to that, but Also, Rachel Zegler herself is not a very great person. She's constantly mocking people, making fun of them, and all that. And so that really didn't help with the movie's performance. I don't know how much money it'll make by the end of all this, but I don't think it's going to do very well at all. I think this movie is just... Like, this movie's not going to do very well. I think it's going to do pretty bad. And this movie costs a lot of money to make because I've heard they've, like, went through and redid the movie and all that too, you know, so it had to make a lot of money to actually make the movie, make money off of it, because they had to redo it. So yeah, there's a lot of drama going on with this movie, like, from all over the place and all that, like, and I mean, there's other live action movies that people have had issues with, like, even in Little Mermaid, they had some issues with, like casting a black person to play, you know, Ariel and all that, but she also wasn't a heartless witch, you know, like Rachel Zegler is out trashing people. People say she was actually very sweet, and I've heard the movie it had some problems, but it wasn't the worst thing ever, but this movie just sounds like it doesn't sound, like, people are saying it doesn't sound as bad as people thought it was going to be, but it still isn't great. And when you have the backlash and all that too, that ain't freaking helping with this either. But they just need to stop making these damn live action remakes right now. Even if they were good, I'm like, they need to take a break from, like, again, focus on freaking animation. That's what Disney was known for, was, you know, it's animation. You know, that's what this film was. It was one of the, you know, it was back, you know, when they were focusing on animation. Yes, Walt Disney made some live action movies too, like we had Mary Poppins and all that, you know, Song of the South. Well, Song of the South, I guess, Mary Poppins and Song of the South technically had some cartoon, you know, stuff in there too. But they still cared, like, they still were focusing heavily on all this stuff, you know. They were focusing heavily on this stuff, you know. And now it's like they don't care about animation anymore. And I'm like, that's what Disney's big thing was. It was their 2D animation, you know, and all that. I mean, they had CGI too, but they still had 2D animation. You know, now they're, like, doing more live action and less, even CGI, like, it's kind of phasing out too with this company. Well, it's phasing out with a lot of Hollywood stuff in general, but it's definitely really bad with Disney and all that. Disney and Warner Brothers are both very bad with this, but I would say Warner Brothers is definitely worse with this kind of crap, but we'll talk about, that's one of the videos I'm going to talk about later, is Warner Brothers, because that's kind of becoming a big problem too, but I'll talk about them in another video, but I'm just saying, like I said, I don't care about live action remakes. It's not Disney, it's just in general. I talked about this before, like, I've even seen a live action remake of Charlotte's Web. I don't care about it, you know, I'd rather watch the actual animated film, you know, but, I mean, I'm not saying they can't be good. I mean, I think I've seen some that were not too bad, like, they did one with the Grinch, like, it wasn't too bad, but for the most part, like, I feel like the animation ones are a lot better. Not to mention, you know, how horrifying those horrifying looking, you know, Hoots are, you know, or the Hoots are Who's and Whoville and all that look in live action is pretty crazy, but I still didn't mind the movie too much either, but my thing is, though, is I'm not the biggest fan of it, and someone like me wants to see, like, they should just go and do a little of everything. Like, instead of just focusing on one thing, do a little bit of everything, you know? That's what they did in the 90s and the early 2000s. They did CGI, they did live action, and they did, they did 2D animation, too. That's what they did, and that's what was so cool. And now they don't do that anymore. I mean, to be fair, no one in Hollywood really does that much anymore. But the thing is, though, is that's what, again, Disney was known for. Disney was known for that stuff, That's what they were known for, It's like if, let's say, Nickelodeon, took away their cartoons, I mean, they can still have live action sitcoms, but I'm like, that's what they were known for, or like, you know, and all that, or like rebranded it all it to like adults, you know. I'm like, that's kind of, I mean, well, to be fair, technically Disney still makes films for kids, but my thing is though, is you're taking away everything that made the company what it was, you know, its identity, you know. And they've been doing that forever, but they've been getting really bad with it more recently. But they're still having some, you know, movies that are coming out that are, you know, not live action. But I will say, speaking of that, there was the earnings call, and there are some more sequels coming out too. We're gonna get apparently a Coco 2 and all that. Which I'm trying to remember. What wasn't there going to be a Coco 2 before? Or was there actually not going to be? Because I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure I thought there was going to be a Coco 2, and then it got shelved, and then they kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of weird. I don't know, I could be wrong, but I thought I remember them announcing a Coco 2 like back like maybe in 2019 or something, 2018, 2019. I don't remember. I think they have announced, like, you know, Pixar's announced some sequels and all that, but you know, but you know, they were either shelved or, you know, like they had a Monsters Inc. 2, it was shelved and all that, you know, like, but they did like make a prequel to it and all that, but the other one was not released, you know. They've done this stuff, but I don't remember if they ever announced a Coco 2. I do know though that the fact that they're going to be banking on freaking sequels too definitely is not a good sign, you know. I mean, some of these sequels could be good, but like, we don't need a freaking Cars 4. You know, I will admit, Cars 3 is probably my favorite of the Cars movies. I'll say that. I can see where some backlash might come with it with Lightning McQueen. Like, it's just focusing on him, which a trope people don't like, where like they have to make the character old and feel useless and all that, like, you know, but I feel like they made it work in that movie and all that, but it's still, I'm like, we don't need a freaking Cars 4, we don't need a Toy Story 5, we don't need, like, and I mean, DreamWorks is doing the same thing, but like, I mean, again, some of these sequels, like, I mean, Incredibles 3 could actually be good, but Toy Story 5 especially was wrapped up, they wrapped it up. And then the same thing with, like, Ice Age 6. They're going to make an Ice Age 6 that's going to come out next year. I'm like, we don't need a freaking Ice Age 6 either, you know, like, it's not looking very good. That's the problem with this company. Like, I feel like they're struggling and all that, and, you know, like, and making sequels. I mean, I'm not saying sequels can't be good. Some, you know, franchises have had multiple sequels and have done very well. But some of these don't need more sequels. Like, I mean, I'm even kind of questioning Shrek 5. But with Shrek 5, unlike Toy Story, you know, 5, at least, you know, I feel like there's more they can tell. With Toy Story 5, it looks like they might be undoing, you know, a lot of the stuff the fourth movie did. I had problems with the fourth movie, but I'm like, some of the stuff, like, I think Woody, you know, leaving and all that was good. You know, like, I mean, I would say him running away from his friends was kind of upsetting. Well, like, they could have had a way where he could have contacted them and kept in touch. But it was still, but, you know, like, but I feel like, you know, he wasn't, like, you know, he wanted to do something different with his life, and he wanted to hang out with Bo Peep. But I can kind of see where that could be kind of controversial, too. But that's the problem. It sounds like they're going to undo a lot of that, too, so that might bring some more problems too, you know, like, kind of like the whole freaking Rise of Skywalker thing, you know, like, when they, like, redid they decided to redo or, like, undo the Last Jedi, and actually ended up making it worse. Well, I actually thought The Last Jedi was probably the worst of the prequel, or the sequel trilogy, but, you know, they tried to, like, fix, you know, what was already damaged, and it just made it worse for people. That's kind of what I thought they'll do with Toy Story 5. Now, it could probably still be a good movie, but I don't know. I really don't have much faith in that. But it sounds like they're still going to make original movies, too, but I'm like, at this point, I'm like you don't need a bunch of these sequels and all that, like, try to focus on some more, original movies too, some more original ones. And not to mention also, like, we got the whole, like the streaming service too. Oh yeah, that's something, like, I was talking about how they're cutting back on, like, costing by, cutting animation and all that, which is not a very smart idea. Like I said, it's a stupid idea because the Walt Disney Company was big on that. And I mean, Warner Brothers is also the same way. I mean, and them cutting back on animation is stupid too. But Disney was definitely a big animation person. With Warner Brothers, I think they made a lot of, like, live action stuff too, but they still were a big thing with animation. But with Disney, they were definitely a big thing with that, and the fact that they're wanting to cut back on to cut costs is ridiculous. Yeah, they're going to try to cut costs by doing that, and I'm like, that's not very smart. And not to mention, you're still spending a shit ton of money in live action. And actually, if you look back on these movies, if you look back on them, some of these movies that were, like, even 2D animation, and you could say, well, that was like 10 years ago. Things didn't cost as much back then, which is kind of true, but even the live action stuff back then still would have cost them a lot of money and had to make a lot of money to break even. Why the hell does it matter? Like, I think it's just these studios just don't want to take risk. And that's the problem. Like, it's okay to take risk. Like, if you want to do something that works, that's fine. But that's what, taking risk does. Take risk, and things can... I mean, sometimes it's not going to always work out, but sometimes it can. Like, in a lot of people, since they're asking for this stuff, you would think they would want to do that, but they're not. And with Disney Plus and all that, too, something ain't right with Disney Plus, because, they're also now announcing that they're doing, they're making a deal with people to subscribe to them for like $2.99 for 4 months. I want to clarify, 4 months. 4 months. Remember that'd be the earnings call stuff. Remember, each quarter of the year they have an earnings call. So 4 months they're wanting to do that because they're trying to boost subscribers. Again, like I said in the past, I think them having over 150 million subscribers is absolutely stupid. Like I feel like it's, well, not stupid. It's baloney. That's what I have to say, baloney. Because there is no way, if they really had that much subscribers, why the hell are they pushing this shit like this? Clearly they're not doing very good. Clearly they're not doing very good with this stuff and all that. And I actually thought about doing a video separated on this, topic with Snow White, but I'm like, that's kind of what is tying into some of this stuff too. Like, that's why they're trying to make live action remakes too, because they made a bunch of money in the past and they need money and all that, and I'm like, that's not gonna help, and all that, and I'm like, they're still spending a shit ton of money, on these movies too, I'm not kidding, they really are. They're still, like I said, these movies they can make hand-drawn animation or 2D animation. They don't have to make it hand-drawn. They can make 2D animation to put it in the big screen again and all, and they can still be, making money off of it. I mean, look at Looney Tunes there. The day the Earth blew up, that was like $15, 15 million, it was over like $15 million there, which I was actually shocked about. I was like, really, it cost $15 million? But see, I'm like, you could make animation like that. Like, they can do it, DreamWorks could do it, Nickelodeon could do it. I mean, all these, studios could actually do that. They can do a little bit of everything, Because some of these animators want to do... They don't want to always do CGI. They would like to do 2D animation too. In fact, I think some of these movies that were actually going to be hand-drawn animation, but Disney was like, no, and they didn't want to do it, And I'm just like, they should do that. Like I said, if they could do that, then they could probably get more people in the theaters. It's like Mufasa. Like, they could have easily made that a 2D animation movie. I hear it still sucked, like it was still a bad movie, but it would have probably gave Disney more money, and all that, instead of making a freaking live action, prequel to a live action remake. It wouldn't be really a live action remake at that point, but it's a live action prequel to a live action remake, I'm like, which I could be wrong at this, but that's kind of the first time I've seen a studio do that too. Like, there's been live action, I think, prequels before, but like, to have a prequel to a live action movie, that's something I haven't really seen before. But still, I'm like, again, you can't give people that. Like, you give people that, but can't give them, like, what people have been asking for. That's kind of the problem here. That's the problem. And that's the thing, that they keep doing this crap and all that. And people are saying, too, that Disney might be starting to course correct, too. But I'm like, are they course correcting, or are they just, like, following one side or the other? Like, as well, because I've been talking about that, like, about Disney too, like, about, they're trying to appeal to a certain demographic, and I'm like, yeah, they need to make money, but are they appealing to, like, is Disney trying to appeal to just, like Republicans, or Republicans, like, the left or the right, and all that? Are they trying to, like, actually course correct and actually make good stuff again? Because that's what I've been trying to tell you guys, that I have no problem having, like, gays or transgender characters in movies and all that. Some people have gotten kind of shitty at shit talking with me and all that about that, like, online. I'm like, so are you saying you don't want your kids to be exposed to that? But I'm like, they're gonna be exposed to it anyway, because I'm like, they're going to be like if you go out into the community, you're gonna find gays and all that all the time. Hell, I went to school and I had teachers who were like, they were like gay. Well, gay or lesbian. I would say probably gay. Well, let's say lesbian, because they were technically female. But my point is like, you can't just say like you don't want your kids to be exposed to it. They're gonna be exposed to it down the road. I'm like, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I'm like, you can't stop it. I'm like, are you gonna just let your kids just imprison them in your house or something to keep them exposed? You can see exactly what I'm talking about, how stupid this crap is and all that. But I'm not saying you need to teach kids this stuff. Don't teach kids this stuff at schools and all that. But like, it's okay for them to experience this stuff. It's okay, But I don't agree with again teaching directly teaching kids and stuff at school at a young age. I don't agree with that. But it's kind of like the whole thing with like going out into the playing sports and all that. Like, I'm actually kind of mixed on that. I will say that. Like, I don't think trans and all that are able to play sports with like a certain gender, all the sports. Like, I think football and all that might be a bit too much, but like golf and baseball, track, I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that, because actually I was having a conversation with this person on Facebook too. I'm like pointing this out. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with because this is like a person, because apparently you're not, they're making it where you can't play, you can't do swimming and all that, and and all that, and track with females, and or females or males, that they have to be separated even if they're transgender. And I'm like, it shouldn't matter, okay? It should not matter and all that, about that stuff. But some sports, like I said, I could totally understand why they don't do that. Like if you want to actually be fair here, if you want to be fair, I would say technically, if they want to be fair, I would say they should have measure people's strength or something and go off that, and they want to be fair. Because there are occasions, I've seen I've seen some, women play sports and compete with men and all that, and they're pretty impressive too, But I get it too. A majority of the people their strengths are different. But like I said, I think, some sports it shouldn't matter, But I even said this on Facebook. This person was getting all salty with me, and I'm like, it'll be over in like about 10 to 20 years, or so. I'm like it's just people. Like I said, this stuff's happened before. It's happened before. It's happened before, and I'm like, and I'll say, like I said, I think teaching this stuff to kids and and all that, teaching this stuff to kids and competing with some sports I can understand, but again, some of them I don't agree with, and and I'm being exposed to the stuff is different than teaching them, I just don't. Again, I don't get it. I don't get the whole thing and all. Like I said, it's just confusing. But yeah, I totally agree with some of the stuff, especially bathrooms, why they won't let, because there are some people that can pretend they are, and in the bathrooms and all that, and that can be a problem. But there are, like I said, there are exceptions. I will say that shouldn't matter, but. That's kind of the problem with Disney and Warner Brothers and all that, and all these companies here. They're trying to appeal to a certain demographic. When myself, I'm in the middle of all this stuff. I don't agree with everything. Technically, I am gender fluid myself, but I'm in the middle here. I think, I don't think you should be teaching this stuff to kids. But there's nothing wrong with having it in your shows and your movies. The problem is that they went too far with this shit, and it basically, it messed everything up. It did. It messed everything up. It did. Heck, I'm going to tell you guys, we actually, speaking of, gender fluid, I'm actually, I don't know, I think she's trans. No, she's not trans. She's gender fluid. We went to Comic-Con. On our way back, we saw Aunt Holly. Well, she's not my aunt. She's my stepdad's aunt. But we went to see her. She wants to call herself Brooke. Gender fluid stuff. And I don't know if it's gender fluid or what. But I'm we had a fun time. We talked and all that, and she's very sweet. And that's the thing, though. Again, it shouldn't matter about this stuff. The problem is, though, like I said, it's becoming a big deal and all that. And like I said, it'll probably die down. It's just gonna take time. But like I said, there's nothing wrong with having this stuff in films and shows either. But it's just the fact that they're going way too damn far with this shit, and that's the problem. And pretty much, I feel almost every film that I've seen, and recently with Disney and all that, has had a gay or a trans in there or something like that. Warner Brothers has been the same way. We've had Adventure Time, we had Steven Universe, we've had Velma and all that. But like I said, I don't have a problem with it. But I'd like to see some shows that don't have that. Or can focus on something else too. Same thing with I would say the same thing with, princesses. Not every Disney film needs to have a princess in it. Not every film, needs to have, it doesn't need to have, a couple in general. You can tell different stories. The problem is, again, I feel like they're pushing this crap way too far, and that's the problem. But yeah, I don't think they're course correcting. I think they're just going to they're trying to go to the other, the other side now. And I feel like at this point, instead of trying to appeal to a demographic, try to just make something for everyone like you're used to, That's what you need to do. Don't be forcing this crap down people's throats. Because now what I'm afraid they're going to do is they're going to go and censor, the other stuff, because, like, what if they go and censor Gravity Falls, or get rid of Gravity Falls entirely because it has these gay cops in it, you know? That's the problem. That's what I'm afraid they're gonna do and all that. That's just gonna lead to more drama. So, but like I said, I think this is probably gonna die down, as time goes on. It's just gonna take time and all that. But like the sequels and all that, and the live action crap with Disney, yeah, that's just gonna keep going on and on. I have a feeling. Next year does not look very promising for Disney films either. It doesn't. Like, it does not look very promising, There actually is a movie I am kind of, hopefully, I shouldn't say, I'm looking forward to it, but kind of not, just because of the direction the company's been going. Especially hearing, what they did to Moana 2. I heard people don't like Moana 2. But Zootopia 2 is supposed to come out at the end of this year. But unlike Moana 2, where it was supposed to be a TV show, this is actually going to be an actual sequel, a sequel to the movie. And not to mention, though, I'm speaking of the live action remakes, we got the whole Moana, live action movie coming out too. Instead, they keep having them. I don't think they've really announced any more of them. So maybe they are going to cut back on it. They've already announced them instead of just like, let's just release these and go from there. But I'm like, you could probably push them back too if you wanted to. You push back all this other crap, so why not push that back too? Like, I don't see why they can't do that. But I don't know. But I'm gonna probably go ahead and actually let this go. I'm kind of just like I feel like I said this is all gonna kind of end up backfiring and all that way. And I feel like I said with Disney and all that, I don't think they're really course correcting. I feel like they're just trying to appeal to a certain demographic, and I'm I get you need to make money, but and a majority of the people, as for right now, don't really want this stuff in there probably, but but at the same time, I'm it's okay to have it every so often, but when you have it all the time, that's the problem, and like I said, I'm gender fluid, and I'm even getting sick of it. I'm sick of it too, I'm tired of dealing with this stuff as well. But I'm going to go ahead and let things go from here. Tell me what you guys think about this in the comments below, and we'll see where all this goes. But I think Snow White 2, the Snow White movie is not going to do very good. It's not doing very good right now, but I don't think it's going to break even. If it does, they might fudge the numbers like they're doing with their platform, because they're trying to make it look like it's doing very well, but I don't think it is. If it was, well, they wouldn't be cutting costs and all that, which is probably going to bite them in the ass as well, because now their platform's not going to be making as much money, so that means it's going to look bad in the investors too. I think they just need to just throw their content also back on Netflix and just shut Disney Plus down. But that's just what I would do. But we'll see what happens with all this. But anywho, guys, see you all later. Bye-bye.